Hello viewers, happy Veterans Day on Monday the 11th of November. My name is Tui Ogedembe. Today I'm paying tribute to all the people who served in the military and fought in the war by talking about the best war movie I've seen. That movie is Platoon. Platoon is a story about a naive young man, Chris Taylor, played by Charlie Sheen, who volunteers to fight the North Vietnamese army in Vietnam. After witnessing the horror of war, he completely loses his innocence. The tagline for this movie is "The first casualties of war is innocence." That's what happens to Chris. Platoon is directed and written by Oliver Stone. Platoon was the first Hollywood movie about the war in Vietnam, written and directed by a Vietnam veteran. Oliver Stone served in the US Army in 1967. The movie is based on his experience as a US infantryman in Vietnam. When Platoon was released on December 19, 1986, it received critical acclaim. It grossed $138 million dollars at the US box office against the budget of $6 million, dollars, making the movie a box office success. And it received 8 Academy Award nominations, winning 4 Oscars for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Film Editing, and Best Sound. I first saw the trailer of Platoon in 1990, and as a big fan of war movies, I desperately wanted to get it on video cassette. Yes, back then there was no such thing as DVD, there was only VHS cassettes. I finally got to see Platoon on cable TV in 1994, and boy, was I thrilled and shocked. The way the story was told about the war in Vietnam changed everything in the entertainment business. Yes, there has been movies about the war in Vietnam done before, like The Dare Hunter and Apocalypse Now. But this movie Platoon tops it all. Oliver Stone directed the movie so well, and of course I mentioned that he's a Vietnam veteran, so him telling the story based on on his experience in Vietnam, the movie is so realistic and it's very brutal. What thrilled me about this movie is the three lead actors in it. They're Charlie Sheen, Tom Berenger, and William Dafoe. Charlie Sheen plays Chris Taylor, the main protagonist and the narrator of this movie. Now, before I go any further about Charlie Sheen's performance, let me tell you a little bit about him. See, Charlie Sheen, whose real name is Carlos Estevez, has a father who's also an actor, Martin Sheen, whose real name is Ramon Estevez. Now, Martin Sheen starred in a Vietnam War movie called Apocalypse Now, directed by Francis Ford Coppola. And like Charlie Sheen's character in Platoon, Martin Sheen is the main protagonist of Apocalypse Now, and he's also a narrator of that movie. What a coincidence, isn't it? Or I should just say like father and son. Anyway, Charlie Sheen gave a great dramatic performance in this movie. His performance as a naive young man whose life is forever changed after experiencing hell in Vietnam is the best of his career. I'm going to show you a clip with Charlie Sheen as he's narrating the final scene in Platoon. Charlie Sheen's character Chris Taylor is flown away in a helicopter, and he sees the scenery of Vietnam for the last time. So here's the clip.
I think now, looking back, we did not fight the enemy. We fought ourselves. And the enemy was in us. The war is over for me now, but it will always be there, the rest of my days. As I'm sure Elias will be, fighting with Barnes for what Ra called possession of my soul. There are times since I've felt like the child born of those two fathers. But be that as it may, those of us who did make it have an obligation to build again, to teach to others what we know, and to try with what's left of our lives to find a goodness and meaning to this life.
Sheen's other two co-stars are Tom Berenger, who plays the sadistic Sergeant Barnes, and William Dafoe, who plays the free-spirited, heroic Sergeant Elias. These two actors are the best thing about Platoon. Tom Berenger, who usually plays the good guys in his previous movies, played such an evil, pathetic, monstrous son of a bitch. His performance in this movie scares the hell out of me. He gives a great performance. He received an Oscar nomination for Best Actor in a Supporting Role. The scene that really turned me off about Berenger is when he kills an innocent woman in a village that him and the other platoon soldiers raided, and then he shoves a gun to a small child's head. William Dafoe gave the best performance in this movie. He's the only character in this movie that I sympathized the most and rooted for. His performance also earned him an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actor. And the poster of Platoon showing a man raising his arms, that's William Dafoe. That's one of the most iconic scenes in Platoon. Here's the clip of him doing that scene. Okay, that was not the entire scene, but watch the movie, you get to see that scene. It's very iconic. That's all I have for this video. So again, happy Veterans Day, and for you viewers who haven't seen Platoon, watch it. It's a great movie. This is Tuyo Bay signing off. Goodbye.